I'm honored to be back again this year as a guest speaker. And I'm so glad that you're here taking part in this conference. Now, just a quick reminder that in October 2026, the Soul Heart Collaboration Conference will be held live in Scottsdale, Arizona. So mark your calendars and stay tuned for more details. Now, this year, Soul Heart Collaboration 2025, Refresh and Renew, bridging the gap between personal and professional development. My contribution to that is called When the Soul Speaks, Everything Shifts. When the soul speaks, everything shifts. We're a friendly bunch of presenters here with a passion of speaking from our lived experiences. I welcome you to reach out to me directly with any questions, any comments, if you so wish. My DMs are always open. Now, with my speaking this year, I've created a journal for you in PDF format so you can follow along. I speak with a lot of questions this time as you listen along with me, along with providing 5 pillars and quite a few takeaway thoughts. But don't worry, they're all in the journal for you to reflect on in your own quiet time. I will give you takeaways from what I've learned, but again, it is all in your journal. So you can just sit back and listen. You're not going to miss a thing. Now, for those who don't know me, I'm Sharon Loduca, and I live in the Greater Toronto Area in Canada. I aim to not speak at you, but rather to speak with you. And for me, this isn't just another talk. It's a love letter from me to you to be the version of you seeking higher ground and slowly coming home. So with that, my friends, hello and welcome. We're glad you're here. And if you've been here before, you will know that I don't show up with a rehearsed performance. I don't hand you the shiny, polished version of my life. When I stand here, I bring you the unfiltered, unglossed, the utterly human version of myself. I bring you the raw, the real, and still sometimes tender truth. And I speak, not just to inspire you, which I hope I do, but also to truly connect with you. Now, in the past years, I've talked about the glitches that happen early in life, the formative bruises, the quiet wounds, how old glitches in our stories can echo into our present, how we can name them, hold them, and heal them. And more importantly, how I made peace with them, how I let them change me instead of define me. This year, I want to tell you a quieter story along the same lines, but not from childhood, not even from decades ago. In fact, I want to tell you a story from just a few months ago. I want to take you to just one night, a very ordinary night that cracked something wide open in me and have put me back together again in a completely new way. Where something shifted so deeply inside of me that I didn't just feel different. I actually began living differently, speaking differently, writing differently, loving differently. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt a moment brewing, not in fireworks, but in stillness? Have you ever been cracked open in the middle of something small? Are you listening when your life whispers, not shouts? Something in me was crashing and I didn't even know what it was yet. It was New Year's Eve, December the 31st, 2024. It's not a party, not a celebration, no countdown, no champagne, no glitter. I was alone in my car, parked at the beach, in a spot I often went to when I needed to feel grounded, when I needed space to think, to cry, to feel something that I didn't yet have words for. Not looking to be inspired or to be productive, just to be present. It was late at night, and I was feeling restless, out of sorts, contemplative, a little frustrated and a little sad, so tired, resigned. Another year was wrapping up, and I felt such a void. I'm sure you know, many here know what I'm talking about. Life was just a struggle. Nothing seemed to be turning out right. Everything felt like sawdust at my feet. I mean, I knew I needed a shift from this old year going into the new year. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. So I sat in the car overlooking the lake, the engine still running, instrumental jazz playing on the radio. And it was strangely mild outside this time of year. But the wind, it didn't care. The lake was alive. The waves crashed like they had something urgent to say. White foam was spraying everywhere. Water was exploding across the rocks, and the sound, that sound was wild. I had a coffee in my hand, still warm. And as I sat there staring into the dark water, something in me began to stir. It wasn't anxiety, not a breakdown. It wasn't even sadness. It was just an ache, a deep, soul-level ache. Honestly, it was more like a reckoning. Not for someone, not even for something, just a longing to feel at home inside my own skin, to be okay, even if nothing was quite okay. To stop performing peace and actually live it. I was asking myself questions like, is anyone else sitting alone in the dark tonight? Is anybody else wondering if this new year will feel any different than the last? Why do I feel this empty when I've worked so hard? Why do I feel like a stranger to my own softness? And what part of me have I buried so deep that I can't hear her anymore? I didn't want a resolution. I just wanted relief. In my quietness, I heard, you need a fresh approach, a new paradigm, not another goal, a new mindset. And let me ask you, when was the last time you felt truly vulnerable and honest about where you were? Have you ever looked like you were thriving, but felt like you were disappearing? Because that's where I was. So now it's New Year's Eve. The world was partying. Me, I was aching. Here I was, in my car, at the beach, alone, feeling like I'd somehow failed at something. Failed at the celebration, failed at the magic, failed at arriving somewhere better by now. So basically, failed at life. I hadn't felt this empty, not in a long time. Yet something inside me whispered, don't run. Don't run from this. So I didn't. Instead, I let the wind howl through me. I let the waves speak for what I couldn't yet articulate. And I did what I've always done when the ache gets just too big. I wrote. I didn't feel like writing. I did not want to write. But something in me needed to speak. I didn't write for an audience. I didn't think about punctuation or metaphors. You see, I've always written. It's how I survived my life. I wrote in the dark as a child. And yes, I could read it the next morning. I wrote when there was no one I could talk to. I wrote to understand my own thoughts. And since I couldn't form words out loud, I opened the notepad on my phone just to get it out. It came out. It came fast, fervently, like my soul was exhaling as it clawed its way to the surface of all that was going on inside of me. Words came like breath I didn't know I was holding. Line after line poured out of me. The kind of writing you don't plan, you just release. A poem I didn't know was living in me. A truth, a prayer, a confession. I titled it, The Lake Speaks. And by the way, you can find that on my personal Facebook page. Might have to scroll a bit, but it's there. The lake speaks. And then I did something I never do. I posted it on social media. See, I'm someone who only displayed my professional side publicly, not my personal side. My personal side was private. All my writings were private, for my eyes only. But this time I took a leap. Something that I've wrestled with for years. I became vulnerable, transparent, open, and real. So yeah, I did that thing. I posted it on social media. Oh, I wanted to promptly take it down, but I resisted. I didn't take it down. I posted it. No context, no explanation, no polish, no performance, just the poem and the photo that I'd snapped of the dark lake, backlit by a streetlight, and stirred into white-capped fury by the wind. So I hit post, and I exhaled. And then I sat with my coffee now cold, with jazz still humming through the speakers, with the waves still crashing, seemingly louder than before. The responses, they came so quickly. People messaged, long messages, some with stories, some with confessions. People were saying things like, "This is me, tonight, right now, exactly." Someone else said, "You just wrote the thing I didn't know how to say." Another said, "You have no idea how this helped me. Can you please share more?" One by one, I replied to every comment, and with every reply I sent back, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt free. And a tear slipped down my face as I continued to read. And not because I was sad, but simply because I realized how not alone I was. Because my ache had found a mirror in others. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a content calendar. All I had was a broken, open heart and a deep need to speak vulnerably from my soul. But you know, it shifted everything. Because suddenly I wasn't just writing to survive. I wasn't any longer just writing for me, for my eyes only. I actually was writing to connect. Now I pause here and I ask you, what truth have you buried because you thought it wasn't useful? And what part of your story might be someone else's permission slip. Oh, that single moment, that raw, uncurated, no filtered post did something I never expected. It opened a door I didn't know that I had closed. It cracked something in me wide open, and it let the real me pour out. Not just the professional me, not the composed me, but the real, the aching, the creative, the quietly wrestling, deeply feeling me. And from that night, everything began to shift in every area of my life. It was unreal. Something unlocked in me. I became less reserved. I became more real. I was being refreshed, renewed, and invigorated. This wasn't just a moment. It literally became a reset, an actual realignment. And from that night, here are the 5 pillars I gleaned from that night that changed me to my core. Pillar number 1, own where you are. There's nothing holy about pretending. And that night, I stopped pretending. I stopped making myself smaller. I stopped forcing gratitude when grief was present. And I stopped saying I'm fine when I wasn't. I didn't slap affirmations over the ache. Now, the ache didn't go away when I named it. Oh, but it did settle and it softened. I owned it. It didn't destroy me. I didn't collapse. I expanded. It freed me. I gave myself permission to be exactly where I was, without apology, without explanation. You see, the vulnerability did not ruin me. In fact, it resurrected me. And when we stop masking the ache, we create room for the real healing to begin. We make space for something sacred to move in. It really is sacred, real healing. It's incredibly beautiful. I'm going to give you 4 takeaways from here. Number 1, stop waiting to be better before you allow yourself to be real. Being real is the beginning of better. Takeaway 2, you don't become powerful by being perfect. You become powerful by being real. Takeaway 3, you can't transform what you refuse to face. Start where you are. Own your truth, even if it's messy. Perhaps, especially if it's messy. Takeaway 4, you do not need to be ready or healed to be honest. But you do need to be honest to heal. Here's a question for you. Where are you still whispering, "It's fine," when it really, really isn't? Pillar number 2, return to your medicine. See, for me, my medicine was always writing and sketching, but I'd made it a business tool, a productivity hack. I forgot it was sacred. It was a gift. I mean, for you, maybe it's singing or dancing or building something with your hands. Maybe it's a craft, a prayer, a silence, or swimming, painting. We all have a way that our soul speaks. And we all, in some seasons, silence it. That night, in that moment, I reconnected with my own language. See, for me, my writing and sketching returned to its original purpose, to catch what couldn't be said out loud. And you know, it didn't just heal me, it brought me back to life. From that moment on, I wrote every morning, every night, and I sketched every afternoon. Not for anyone else, not for social media, just because my soul had something to say, and I was finally listening to it. I can tell you that what I wrote wasn't always pretty, and what I sketched definitely wasn't polished, but it was being vulnerable and transparent. And you know what? That made it holy. And here's some takeaways from this pillar. Takeaway number 1. Your medicine won't always look productive, but it will always feel like truth. Takeaway number 2. Your creative voice isn't just cute, it's critical. It's your soul's language. And when you stop using it, something in you goes silent too. Takeaway 3. Don't wait until the path is perfect. Create, even without a plan. Trust the process. Let your healing speak. And takeaway number 4. Stop waiting for a polished plan. Start responding to what stirs in you right now. And a question for you. What form of expression have you starved in you in the name of being useful or efficient? Pillar number 3. Let your inner work touch your outer world. Without me meaning to, my entire life began to recalibrate. My softness began to seep into my business. Client emails became warmer, my newsletters less scripted, my marketing soft and deeper. Conversations much more spacious, and my boundaries became clearer, not harder, just truer. Why? Because I was writing, because I was creating, because I was returning to myself. And you know, people responded differently, not just to my words, but to my presence. I was showing them someone real, not polished, not perfect, just present. See, when we let go of the mask, we invite others to do the same. Our vulnerability becomes a mirror for connection. It really does. And the takeaways from this pillar. Number 1, your authenticity is not a liability. It is your most magnetic asset. Takeaway number 2, part of you that you're afraid to show, that's the part that your world needs the most. Truly is. Takeaway 3, personal transformation leads to professional transformation. The more human you allow yourself to be, the more magnetic you become. Takeaway number 4, we do not have to compartmentalize our growth. What you free in yourself flows through everything you touch. The question for you: what would shift in your work, your relationships, your voice, if you let your healing show? I know, they're the deep questions today. Pillar number 4 that I gleaned from that night. Number 4, you are never too old to begin again. I made new friends, real ones, soul-aligned ones. People who saw me through my words, people who weren't tied to my role or to my business, people who just liked who I was, as I was. And I remembered something I hadn't thought about since I was a child. We're allowed to meet new people at any age. We're allowed to change. We're allowed to bloom again. Yeah. And we should give ourselves permission to do so. For me, I rediscovered sketching. I found a version of me that had been buried beneath shoulds and survival. We're not past our blooming, not ever. We just don't stop. We're not locked into who we were last year, or for that part, even yesterday. See, that night didn't take me backward. It invited me forward. Not even into reinvention, but more into remembrance. Ask yourself, where am I being invited to begin again? What truth in me is asking to be spoken? What would happen if I let myself be fully seen? Your takeaways here. 1, rebirth does not require crises. It only requires permission. Takeaway 2. We do outgrow parts of ourselves, and that's not a failure. That's actually growth. Takeaway 3. You're never too old to begin again, to meet new people, to uncover old loves, to be made new. Never. Takeaway 4. You haven't met all of your soulmates yet. You haven't lived all of your lives yet. Isn't that cool? There's more to be lived. There's more to be met. My question for you: what if the truest you is not ahead or behind, but already quietly living alive inside you, waiting for permission? What if that's the case? The last pillar I have for you today, pillar number 5. Rituals create realignment. See what happened that night? It didn't just become a one-time thing. It became a rhythm. It became a way of living. A non-negotiable, sacred habit. Write, reflect, share, sketch, sit by the water. Not for performance, but for presence. And the more that I honored this flow, the more my life realigned every direction. And from this pillar, here's my 4 takeaways. You actually take away one. You actually don't need a 10-year plan. You only need one habit that pulls you closer to who you truly are. Take away two. New skills, new friendships, new truths. They're still waiting for us, for every one of us, me and for you. Takeaway three. Transformation is not something you finish. It's just something you learn to live from the inside. And takeaway four. You don't need a big transformation. You just need a small ritual that feels like home. 5 pillars. Tons of takeaways. Just pause, take a breath, close your eyes if you want. Let the waves rise in your own heart for a moment. And ask yourself gently, where in your life are you crashing quietly? What is rising in you right now? What part of you wants to speak but has not had the room? What have you been craving that you're afraid to say out loud? Where do you feel the ache? And what if it is sacred? What would shift in you if you simply allowed it? Where are you still pretending to be fine? What is trying to be born in you? What have you silenced that wants to speak? Where do you need to tell the truth about how you feel? What practice in your life is waiting to return to you? Where are you being invited to shift? Just jot it down. One word, one phrase, sketch a feeling. No one even needs to see it but you. Let us speak truth to you. And let that be enough to begin again. Here are 5 quick wins that I discovered during that journey. Quick win number 1. Tell the truth so healing can begin. The moment you name the ache, it starts to loosen its grip. Quick win number 2. Return to the thing that makes you feel most like you. Reclaim the creative ritual that was never meant to be simply monetized. Quick win number 3. Let your inner life soften your outer life. Stop splitting your personal truth from your professional presence. Trust me, only enhance it. Quick win number 4. Start again, right where you are. You're never, ever too old, too late, too far gone to return to yourself. Quick win number 5. Let the ache be sacred. Your ache does not need to be solved immediately, but it does need to be honored. So I'm going to wrap all of this up now. That night at the lake, it didn't change my circumstances, but you know what? It changed everything else around it. I began to experience truly whole health. My body, my mind, my relationship, business, social life. It changed the way I breathe. It changed the way I respond. It changed the way I treated people. And it changed the way I treated myself. Reminded me that healing doesn't need an audience. It just needs your honesty, your vulnerability. I didn't have a plan that night. I didn't light a candle. I didn't write intentions, nor did I declare my goals, not even into the wind. I simply listened to the ache inside of me, and I gave space to speak. And what came next? It was not fireworks, and it was not instant, but it was heal. Slow return, holy unraveling, a quiet becoming. My business began to bloom again, but this time from a gentler place, not forced. My relationships deepened, my creativity returned, and my joy felt grounded. All because I had the courage to speak vulnerably, first to myself and then to the world. That one night reset my mindset. It rewired my habits. It realigned my whole life, personally, spiritually, emotionally, professionally. So let me leave this with you. If you feel like something in you is breaking, maybe it's not breaking down. Maybe it's just breaking open. Maybe it's just breaking open. And if you feel like the wind is picking up in your life, if the waves are crashing and it feels like everything is breaking, maybe it's not destruction. Maybe it's the beginning of becoming. So here's what I hope that you remember from this today, that you are not too old to begin again, that you are not too late to become new, that you do not need to be in a perfect state to be worthy of love, expression, or purpose. In fact, where you are right now at this moment is the perfect state for you. You are allowed to return to yourself, and you're allowed to begin again and again and again. And you do. May your life, your relationships, your business, your breath, may they all reflect the truest version of who you've always been becoming. All you need is the courage to sit in the storm and the softness to say, this is where I am, and it's enough to begin again. Let me ask you, what if the life that you're craving isn't waiting for a grand gesture? What if all it's waiting for is a single honest breath from you? You don't need a new year. You don't need a new milestone. You just need to listen, and maybe today that starts with you. So if I can admonish you, please let your ache speak, let your truth be seen. And for the love of all things that are best for you, let your softness come home. Because that, my friends, that is where the real transformation begins. The lake didn't ask if I was ready. It didn't ask for permission to rise. It just did its thing. It kept rising. It kept crashing. It kept returning. It just moved with the wind. And maybe so can we. Thank you truly. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you.